Listen, today's soul food is simply before you speak, see it all the way through. Before you react, before you reply, before you respond, before you take action, take arms, before you get up and go do something, see it all the way through. Don't just move based off of what's happening right now, but choreograph your movement based on a symphonic understanding what God said about it in the beginning and what that means for your end. That way, while you're in the midst of some turmoil or a storm or a situation that don't seem right or something that is so confusing that it boggles your brain, you don't get caught up in making a decision or saying things that will cause you to harm yourself. For example, when God promised the child to Abraham, he then confused Abraham by telling him later on to go kill it. Now, if Abraham would have locked into what God was saying right then, he probably would have responded in a way that would have lost everything for him, lost the blessing, lost the promise, lost everything, because he would have reacted just to that very moment. But what did Abraham do? He reasoned. He figured that God was figuratively speaking. Why? Because before he spoke, he saw it all the way through. He went back to what God had said in the beginning about his son, before there was a son, that he was the promise, and that through him many nations would come, and that he would be blessed, and that he was the one that he wanted him to have. So by the time that son came from an old woman who couldn't have kids because she was barren, the understanding is there's no way possible that God is going to want to kill this. So he knew at that time, he deduced the solution was that merely God was just testing him to see if he believed. And that's what God has been doing to us. He's been giving us blessings and situations and circumstances, but he wants us to know him, and he wants us to understand the fullness of the manifestation. This is how you get the words off the page. You are more than a conqueror is more than just a confession and an affirmation of who you are in God. It is your true being. It is your destiny. It is what you are and who you are. You are to walk in that every day. That is something that shows itself every day. But the only way it's going to show itself every day is if you first believe it. See, first you got to remember that God said you was more than a conqueror. So when you get involved in situations and circumstances that are beyond your strength, that are beyond your control, that are out of whack and going haywire, does that mean you're no longer more than a conqueror? Absolutely not. If anything at all, it means you're even more than a conqueror at that time. You know why? Because you're only a conqueror through Jesus. And Jesus can now work through this impossible situation to make your life possible and happen. So understand, you need to, before you speak, you need to see it all the way through. Find out what God said in the beginning about it so that you can deduce the solution to the end, so that no matter what's going on in the middle, you will not be thrown off. You will not be deceived. You will not cause yourself to hamper your own blessing based off of your mouth, based off of what comes out of your lips, based off of the things that your tongue say. See, with Abraham, he deduced that God was either going to not allow him to kill Isaac, or he was going to raise Isaac from the dead. So that gave him the solution of me and the lad will be back. We're going to go up here on this mountain and we coming back. See, that's before he spoke. He saw it all the way through. Even I, in my own regards, got into the flesh based on situations that God has given me, financial blessings that have come my way. But based on the haywireness of it, even I have spoke against it in truth, because I know who I'm dealing with, but not in truth spiritually from what God had said about it. So getting caught up in a moment, I may have said some things and have said some things to hinder the outcome that God had already professed prior to it. See, we all guilty of it. We just have to come to the realization the things that we say is what will make us good or what will make us bad. It will prosper us or it will bring us defeat. What we say. Because we have the authority in this realm over our lives. God is able to do exceedingly abundantly according to the power that worketh in us. Jesus worketh in us. We got to exercise that power on the outside. So today I say to you as a witness and as one who's been a victim of it, and I ask God to forgive me and you. But as a witness, I say, before you speak, See it all the way through. Because that in itself will help change the way you start to react, reply, and respond to the things that happen in your life. Just because you get a no, it don't really mean no, because God already said yes. And if God said it, you no longer have to worry about anything, because it will come to pass. Just believe.